In this world where hellions can be just summoned out of nowhere at a mere dinner party, what we need is the Blood Witch to save us all. We're talking about Bloodruth, baby. Now, hail the Rippaverse comics for putting this out. Yes, I have the foil and embossed copy, so it's going to be really extremely hard for this camera to pick it up because the light is shining directly on me. But guaranteed, not only are all of the covers, yes, I got cover C, but not only are all the covers absolutely badass, you know what else is badass? This entire story, written by the Scosses, yes, again. And one thing that I do have to point out before we start any kind of review. Now, I started out, I was racking my brain about 45 minutes last night. It's like, how the heck do I do a spoiler free review? We'll do light spoilers. So let this be your warning right now. But not only did the Saskas write it, what we had to talk about, what I want to talk about the most, and something that I paid attention to, was Michael Montagnat, the artist, the one who did all of these panels, of which there are many, 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 many panels. It almost seemed like a storyboard for a film that's going to be shot later on down the line. I don't know. Wink, wink. Eric, if you want to get on it, this is a great story. Another part of the story, basically the entirety of it, it had very big Castlevania vibes, very big Bloodborne vibes, it almost Legend of Zelda vibes at some point. You can see where the inspiration came from. Yes, it is horror, by the way. Do not get that twisted. The Saskas never lie whenever it comes to their kind of stuff. So, yes, it is a horror comic book, but that's just right up my alley. And that's why I was so excited to see it, so excited to read it, and so excited to bring you this review today. Now, the reason why I'm saying it's going to be spoiler light but not spoiler free is because I have not found a way to talk about this book without actually spoiling some things. So it has very huge biblical implications. The entire first page, it literally starts out with the story of Cain and Abel and where Bloodruth, Sydney Bloodruth, and her family come from. They are basically the opposition to the mark of the beast. And that comes with a price, though. And that's what I love about it, the little blood mage, the little blood witch and wizard thing. Ooh, ripe for content. Yes, sirree. Now, also in the beginning, and they didn't even have to tell me, I already noticed it because I read all the books. Gooding makes an appearance. Now they fight at first, but that's to be expected, especially when you find out later what Sydney has gone through. And I'm not going to spoil that because, as much as that will make you want to read the book more, I want you to discover it for yourself because not only is the artwork, not only is the writing, not only is the storyline, the way that it absolutely comes together in the entirety of the Rippaverse, it just makes so much sense. You need to read it for yourself. You need to experience it for yourself. Now, one thing that I love about the Rippaverse, it's almost like, back when the MCU was good, they actually had a plan. Now, they actually have a plan with all this stuff because these stories are beginning to intertwine. Things are happening on their own planes, yet, it inevitably is going to end up in Flores Park. And oh my goodness, I am here for it. Yes, let's go. All right, so off of that tangent, and I'm not going to show you any artwork either because, that person deserves to be paid. You need to buy your own copy. Buy it. Buy it. Don't rent it. Don't borrow it from someone else. Get your own. You're going to want to have it anyway. All right, so we start out and we first learn some things. Now, this is what the Saskas are really good at too. They leave little breadcrumbs around the trail. You don't necessarily know. And what it makes you do, it makes you kind of want to, if you don't have self-restraint, you will go to the end or you'll flip past a few pages to try to find out where did that come from? How is that going to come in later? Don't worry, it's going to come in later. And then that shot, that drop, that shock and reveal will be worth it. Do not get that twisted. So Sydney is actually very loving of her family. She says a lot of things, but if you pay attention to her actions and the things that she says and the things that she's thinking in her mind, which are annotated just during in separate blocks of text, You could tell what she's thinking and what she says out loud. I know I'm just talking as a normie, but a lot of people don't know that, so I'm keeping it in there. Um, Very family oriented, and apparently she's the last of them. And I'm not going to spoil anything about that kind of stuff, but she is the last of her bloodline. And no, Bloodruth bloodline, that doesn't necessarily come from the same thing. However, that could be hotly debated. We'll just have to see in the conversation going forward. But something happens at the very beginning, and you can see the turmoil that is going on in her mentally. Now, what ends up happening is Gooding brings her in on a job from these two benefactors. Now, I know what you're thinking right now, Jurassic Park 3 vibes, or maybe something different. Also, there was a lot of Constantine in this, which I am not mad about at all. But so these two benefactors, they basically require her services, and she's like, "Oh yeah, whatever. I don't need no help. I don't need no man. I don't need no nobody. Let me do things my way." Because she has, well, okay. So the reason why I say that, because it's not woke at all. She has a personal thing, which is explained in the book. She has a personal reason on why she needs to fulfill this task, why she needs to go on this mission, why she needs to do it alone, because she doesn't want collateral damage. And that's another thing that the Soskas are really good at. They're good at writing strong women that still have flaws and that actually care about things. It's not all about them. In fact, I would argue that Sydney is not doing this for herself. She's doing it for other people at the cost of herself. Hollywood, take some freaking notes. But when she goes down, well, not down, but when she goes into this castle, which is property that has been owned by someone else. Apparently, something happened. Apparently, the townspeople do not like it. It has been bought by these two benefactors, and she is tasked to go in there to rid one undesirable, and then all chaos ensues. Yes, this is where things go absolutely wild and crazy, and I'm not going to spoil a damn thing about this because it is so much fun. It's a freaking roller coaster ride of a book, and it's, I mean, maybe 100 pages. I didn't look at the page count because they're not numbered, but hey, who cares about that at all? I was enthralled the entire dadgum time, and that's not going away anytime soon. Now, is it better than Yara? I don't know because I love horror so much. Okay, I really love Yaira. I don't think y'all understand how much I love Yaira number one, and Yaira number two is on the way. I've already ordered it, but this is so good. Literally, Bloodruth. Bloodruth. I almost called it season one. Bloodruth, volume one. So dadgum good. You should go get it yourself. The not only is the artwork, and I don't know if I talked about the panels earlier, but I'm just going to say it again because it bears re-mentioning. The panels, the facial drawing, the illustration of faces in so many panels and so many panels. Now there aren't so many like big, 2-page spreads. I don't think there actually is a 2-page spread, but there are single page like full frame spreads. But there's so much facial work, and that is so difficult to do for an artist. So I have to give props out to Mike Mike Montanat, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Michael Montanat. I am sorry, I am horrible with names. Don't worry, brother. I have got my eyes out for you. I want to see more of what you did. I did a cursory Google search on this guy. I didn't really see much other than that he's a graphic designer and graphic artist. But I want to see more from you. Rippa, you know how to pick them. I could tell you that, from the get go without saying sorry for anything. This is another book that is going to go down into the annals of Rippaverse comics history. You're going to love it. I promise you. I promise you. You're going to love it. It is so dadgum good. Has a lot of biblical themes in it. So, especially if you are someone, I mean, whether or not you are a Christian or not, I happen to be. A lot of people in our community happen to be. That doesn't matter anyway. It sets up the story completely perfectly. It executes the story completely perfectly, and it leaves you wanting more completely perfectly. It's not just a fall off the dadgum cliff like one of the ones that I didn't like was. This one is a complete entire story with more on the way. You will want to read it. You will want to see it. I want to see this in live action. I don't even like anime, but I'd watch an anime of this. Bring it on. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant. Bloodruth, episode 1, book number 1 from the Rippaverse comics. Jin and Sylv Saska, Michael Montanet. Also, I mean, all helmed by Eric July himself. Y'all have a great day. Much props to you. Love you. This is Malty from Mouth of Malty. Y'all have a great day and take care. Bye bye.